go.
Weird, loose.
Well, you can't do that.
I think that's fine, dude. I love when podcasts start in the middle of a conversation.
3, 2, 1, go.
3, 2, 1, let's go. All right, welcome. This is the 5th episode of NicoLost. Today we are with a special guest, Beka Carson. We have myself, August.
Andy.
Artie.
And let's go, man. So let's get into it because I feel like I've talked about it a little bit on earlier podcasts, of course. And, it's been something very interesting, and I think that we've all have our opinions on this is Reiki, as well as just in general life.
And it's something people don't know, so...
No, it was like my
We're
first
ready
time
to talk about it.
Haven't said the word yet. Reiki. Did we already say it?
You did say it. You did say it.
Literally just said it.
Reiki Healing, though. You're not saying the full of it, though.
We're going to be 30 minutes in. I'll be like, I don't know if I mentioned this yet.
But anyway, so yeah. So, this is pretty interesting because...
I know quite literally nothing about it.
Yes.
You guys have been
exposed, I barely know anything. So this is just a good way to find out more. Let's just get into it.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. What is Reiki Healing?
Wait, whoa.
Right?
She's a person, dude. She has other information besides just Reiki Healing.
Well, let's
start
it.
I have so much information.
Yeah, I mean, let's...
Well, we should probably talk about, how...
Let's do introduction, I think.
You're right.
Yeah.
All right, my name's August. No, I'm just
kidding. We did that one.
What was your name again?
Yeah.
Have we said Reiki yet?
No, so I'll give my spin on this, and then Becca, you can fill in where you want. So I met Becca at the gym that I go to, Fitwit, because she's a trainer there.
Did it work out with him?
Yes.
Gym?
Oh, I murdered the gym class.
I kick his ass.
He missed it.
I got it.
But anyway, so that's how we met, and then one day we started talking about ghosts.
Yeah, actually, that is how it started.
That's a good segue.
So that's a weird segue because
Wait, but have you heard about
ghosts? But that is how the conversation started.
Have you heard about us and ghosts though?
A little bit. It sounds like your family is very open to the spiritual stuff.
Very much.
Our mother is very spiritual.
Her whole side of the family carries this weird connection to the spirit world.
Yes.
And it's some real third world stuff going on. I don't get it. Some old school stuff that's still here. It's definitely even our dad has experienced by relation some of the crazy things that have happened.
Yeah, and our grandmother too, who was a healer.
Yeah. Yeah. And actually in our family, our cousins, for example, they will do healing ceremony. They will heal people. Like you say, they will essentially take the pain out of you and they'll put it on themselves, but they're in a better state to actually handle it, and eventually it'll go away for them. That's kind of the...
Yeah.
But I knew about that a long time ago, right? Because of our cousins.
Yeah.
They've been doing that for a long time. You'll just see them holding each other's shoulder or whatever it might be and saying things and just pulling pain out of people.
And it works.
Yeah, it works.
Do they call that something, a certain type of modality in healing?
I don't think so. I've never heard a term being attached to it, but I see it whenever we go to California, all of our extended relatives and stuff like that, we'll all meet up, and eventually people are, Uncle Cuckoo is it essentially will be my back hurts all the time, and Abby or somebody will just always be trying, because they haven't seen him in a while, just be pulling pain out of him whenever they go see him and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
So you guys are already way more open than most people.
Yes. Yes.
To experience that.
Yeah, definitely.
And be comfortable with it. So.
Yeah, our mother scared us at a very young age about ghosts and stuff. So we've always been
terrified.
Yes.
Yeah, mostly terrified. Yeah, almost exclusively just terrified.
Pure terror.
At a young age.
I'm pretty curious about the ghost thing though. So is that she talks to the deceased relatives or?
Our grandmother does.
Yeah, yes. Grandmother. Yeah,
our grandmother talks to our dead grandfather
every day,
and she was living in our house, and would talk to him, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm just talking to your grandfather." My mom was like, "Who are you talking to?" And she's like, "I'm just talking to your dad," which is our grandfather, and our mom told us that, and I was like, "Why is she bringing?" Not that. First of all, our grandfather is a wonderful human being, but. No ghosts is my policy. Freaks me out real bad.
But I'm glad you brought that up, dude, because I feel like now, for the first time in my life, I've genuinely been super interested in ghosts for like a really long time. Like, if something comes on and it's like got ghosts and stuff, I can't not watch it. Like, I have to see it. And for the first time in my life, I actually like have drawn a separation between being able to see like friendly ghosts and stuff like that, and like having ghosts that are like helpful and stuff like that. Just because I watch like so many videos on like ghosts and stuff like that, right? And all these people like ghost hunting and all this crazy stuff. Yeah. I'm like, oh, there's friendly ghosts too. So like, for the first time in my life, I'm actually not totally scared. If I like saw a ghost right now, I would be like okay with it.
I'm cool with it, to be honest.
I am not cool with it.
I'm totally cool with it.
A ghost?
Yeah.
In the house?
I would be okay with it, yeah.
No. I mean, there's like, if you think about the other side, that means if there's ghosts, there's like angels, and there's other people like
exactly.
team helping you. So.
But that's why
it's
people
not
get,
all bad.
So whenever I watch
it,
people get especially scared like because of like demons and stuff like that. That's where I would be scared too. Is like whenever you start getting into like that territory, and now no.
But don't you
I
think
you have to allow that in though too?
For
a
sure.
certain type of person is kind of open and susceptible to that.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%.
Isn't it the same? Like if you believe in angels, you believe in devils, right? Like that's the way I see it. Like the fact that like one of the reasons that I like believe in God is that I feel like one time I was assaulted by a demon, right?
Ooh.
Remember when I told you guys about this? When I got like...
I do remember
I don't remember the story at all.
You guys are getting way weirder than what I was going to bring up today, so this is kind of cool.
Oh, we're going to get... Yeah, we're going to
No. I do remember the story.
I don't know about the story.
I do remember the story. No, this is...
When I had that... Like, science would call it sleep paralysis, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
But I remember this...
I'm skeptical right now.
Dude, my eyes were closed.
Sleep paralysis.
My eyes were closed. I was sleeping on the couch, and I could see through my eyes to the whole room, and like in the distance was like a dark, shadowy figure, and I was freaking out because I was awake and I couldn't move my body at all, and I was like, "This is it. This guy's gonna possess me. I'm done. The darkness is won."
Why was that your immediate thought? Couldn't you fight the dark shadow?
Dude, if I saw that demon, I'd be like, "Come at me, bro."
Dude,
yeah.
I prayed.
I don't like good.
I prayed the Nicene Creed verbatim.
Nicene.
Is it Nicene?
Yeah.
It's not Nicene?
No.
The Nicene?
The Nicene?
The Nicene Creed.
For all of you with gout out there.
The Nicene Creed. And it worked. And I just prayed super hard, and I kept doing it, and it kept getting louder and louder in my head. And it bolstered my faith, and I woke and snapped out of it.
How old are you?
It was just like 27, 28.
Jeez.
Were you at Grandma's house in Charleston?
No, I was actually in the condo or the apartment when I lived with Kevin and on Krog Street.
It's the only time I've had sleep paralysis was at that house in Charleston.
Okay, it's terrifying.
In that house?
Yeah, it wasn't terrifying for me though. I felt cool.
I
just woke up.
I don't
was
like
totally
going in the
conscious,
basement of the house.
and I have a theory on this actually because I don't know how I was. Well, you're 100% conscious, right?
Yes.
And
it's a dream, essentially.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So are you dreaming or not?
So you're dreaming, but you are like lucid. Just means like you can't, like you're dreaming, but you can't come out of it. Like in a normal dream, you're actually dreaming and just like going through.
But are anything that my brain is receiving, like in terms of like senses, like sight and stuff like that, is not real, or is it real?
I don't know for sure about that because I can, like when it's happened to me, it's always when I'm in like a really light sleep, either right when I fell asleep or like a nap, and I can't wake up and I know I'm sleeping and my eyes feel like they're shut, but I can see everything in my room. Like I can see the door, I can see it's weird. Like I can basically like move around my room, but my body is. It feels like my soul or spirit is out there and just like
I have a theory
hanging out, and I can't get out of it. Like I can't wake up into the physical again.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Can you control it?
I remember my eyes were awake.
Now that I know what it is, I can control it more. I can be more
my eyes were
conscious of
open whenever it happened to me. I just sat there and I couldn't move, and I was like sitting on the cot in Charleston in that room that we always sleep in, and my eyes were wide awake and I was like, I can't move my body. This is really weird.
Your eyes were open?
Yeah, my eyes were totally open.
I think that.
Yeah.
I think that is sleep paralysis.
That's creepy.
Like I think that's scientific sleep paralysis.
Yeah, I mean, like my eyes were open. I couldn't move my head, nothing, and I was just sitting there, like looking around the room, wondering what was going on. But I wasn't scared. I didn't see anything. But I definitely, I think there's something to do with like whenever you start to like lose touch with your body, I think that's what like was making me feel like I was having an out of body experience. It's like as soon as like for some reason, like say if you severed all the nerves like and neck that go to the rest of my body, I would naturally, like I think any person would start to have like an out of body experience. They're just like totally out of touch with their body. But what's really crazy is when you start like zooming around the room and stuff like that, and seeing yourself in the third person. That never really made sense to me. But I kind of got that feeling, like I felt like I was floating above myself, but it's not like I was like looking at my whole body. Like I was still in my own eyes, if that makes sense.
There's a term for that. It's astral projection. So you actually can leave, and some people do it on purpose. Like they learn how to do it, and so you leave, like basically your soul or your spirit leaves the body, and you can control it. And as long as you have, I haven't done this. I'm terrified of it, but there's like a cord. Basically, you kind of connect this energetic cord to your body.
I could get into this.
People look it up, like research it, because it's like, so it happens to some of my friends accidentally too. Usually before it happens, you'll hear, like you'll either feel it vibrating in your body or you'll hear noise. Like my friend, when it happened to him for the first time, it sounded like a train. It was like this loud noise and his body was vibrating, and he knew he was dreaming, but he was conscious of it, and he started to lift up and like could see below him, see his body. And and then people from there, like when they actually intentionally do it and learn how to do it, they can like go travel to different parts of the world and like, literally go anywhere. People have been known to like go visit someone.
Do you think people are more or less inclined to be able to do this?
I think so. I think it's just like any kind of spiritual stuff, like where certain people are more open to it, like mediums, like you're more open to, like it's going on around us all the time. But if you're willing to see it, like your brain is can only take in so much at a time. Otherwise it'd be overwhelmed. Like when we use like 10% of it. Right. But if you opened up all of that into like within like with psychedelics and like spiritual awakenings, and people have these massive openings where their brain is like firing on all cylinders, it takes in just a lot more information.
I think I read something a long time ago. That's what shrooms do. Is they basically like form a lot of connections in your brain that didn't exist before.
LSD, like shrooms, like all of the psychedelics do that.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
That's crazy.
But now I want to play around with this and like go travel. I'm gonna go to Egypt next week.
But no, when you do that, like, so one of my Reiki masters told us this, but she's like, you have to be careful and protect yourself when you do that, because knowing you're going into the astral realm, just like there's angels and there's demons or however you want to look at that, good and evil forces or people with bad intentions.
Bad things.
I'm gonna go in there and clean it up, dude. John Wick style.
I'm really careful.
I feel like I already knew what you were about to say.
That's why I'm shaking my head. Like, don't do
August
that.
is like, under no means.
I feel like you're about to reference Doctor Strange. I'm gonna be. Did you feel that?
You know what I feel right now? I feel like I want to go down this route. I want you to explain more of this to me. Maybe not necessarily on this podcast, because I feel like it goes super, super deep. But now that I feel like, okay, if that's what it was, let's play with it. Like, let's push it a little bit.
Maybe you can get back there.
That's the wrong.
I had literally no I didn't feel anything negative.
So
I was super calm. Like I was like, that was the thing about it, as I probably felt more calm than anything. I felt like everything was so still in that moment. It was really weird. Like it was like time to stop, and I was just sitting there.
I can't believe your eyes were open. I'd have been like, Artie.
Oh yeah,
Artie.
Man, you guys are downstairs. And I was just laying on the cot, and like, dude, like the cot is already like kind of snug or whatever, so I'm just this is actually really nice, and I was just chill. I was just waiting for my body to like be able to move again, but I didn't feel like anything bad. I don't know, a lot of people have that experience where they like see like little demons like poking their head through the doors and stuff like that.
It's a common thing.
And a lot of people, and I think it was like an old wives' tale too at one time, where people used to imagine like sleep paralysis in general was like demons entering your body and stuff like that, and a lot of people experience, I think, people like things sitting on their chest and stuff like that as a way of like feeling like they can't move, like a demon is like sitting on their chest.
It's not what happened to you.
That's the darkness, man.
That's what happened to you, isn't it?
Dude, I'm not playing around.
You were like, oh, my chest was like, I couldn't get up. Some.
August is definitely asleep with his lights on.
What you guys are talking about?
All the TV's on.
Even us talking about this is inviting the darkness in. That's the way I think view it. Like after my Reiki session,
but dude, I think you might be viewing as that whole other level. Like I don't even think about it as darkness at all. I mean, like if anything, and maybe you can maybe back me up. It's like there's going to be a bunch of demons out there too, like for sure. But there's going to be as many, if not more, like good forces potentially.
It's 50-50.
There's going to be a balance, right?
But it depends on who you
but
are.
But
that's
the
way
life is, anyways.
Exactly. That's what I was
yeah.
gonna say.
So it's like it's not any
side.
different than the way life is anyway. So it's like once you jump into there, if like you're just the same person you were anyways, you should be fine.
Yeah.
I want to say that like the reason that happened to me, where I feel like I was assaulted by a demon, right? Trying to enter its way into my soul and take it. Was because I was on a dark path in my life at the time.
Did you feel like it was trying to take your
soul?
soul?
I was depressed. I was like hated my job to the 10th degree. I was stressed unbelievably with working like crazy hours.
AKA vulnerable is what I'm getting.
I was vulnerable and weak and also miserable, right? And I invited that stuff in because I was like, and I wasn't living a good life either.
I hear you.
Maybe that was just negativity.
I was on a bad path.
For sure. Maybe that was just like
it was
no,
really
I was a negative person.
Yeah.
And it was just more negativity that you were letting in.
Yeah. I didn't have an outlet to do things. I was just like shut off from the world.
And more negative.
I would only go out and like party and have a good time. That type of stuff. So like that's how that happened, right?
Yeah.
Now I'm a little bit different. I would say much better now than I was back then, a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
That was a dark time in my life. I call that the dark times.
So I've heard some different theories on this in the spiritual community, because I was raised in a very religious background, like super strict religious background. So this is all kind of taboo, and I still very much believe in God. I would, I guess you could consider me a Christian because I believe in Jesus. Actually, and we can get into this later, but like work with Him when I'm doing any kind of healing work.
Right.
However, I don't associate or like resonate with religion anymore because of the stigma and the rules and everything else.
So for that.
The rules.
I told Mom and Dad a long time ago that I don't believe in organized religion anymore.
You also told Mom you didn't believe in God at one point. You made her cry. So
those were also dark times.
So okay, for the background I have, like originally I was told there's demons and there's the devil and like that's what's mostly out there, and so it's like it's terrifying, as I'm branching off and at this point in life I've studied all these different religions, different modalities, because I'm curious and like I want to know how they all interact. Like we all have these different experiences, we just call them different things.
That's cool.
So what I've heard from a lot of people, what I've studied about is instead of looking at it like demons, when we experience those dark times or these dark forces, it could be the shadows within us, like coming out in some way, like coming to manifest themselves. So when you have,
I think you just hit the nail on the head.
When you have, I've had that kind of experience where I had, these terrible dreams for a long time, and like basically felt like there was some kind of demon it was like the first time I've never screamed out Jesus' name before, and I literally
in like a defense mechanism.
Yeah, I screamed it out, and this was like part of an awakening that I went through that led to all this a couple of years ago. But I was having a dream, and I had this. I couldn't see the figure. It was like it basically looked like this white cloudy sheet in front of me. And I felt something coming towards me. And I started getting this energetic thing coming basically from like the base of my spine, crawling up me. And that didn't feel terrible, but it was like, I didn't feel like it should be there. Like it wasn't part of me. And so I felt like I was being taken over. And so I was freaking out. I was panicking. I was like, and I didn't even know what I believed at this point. I was just new to everything. It was like busted wide open for me. So it starts to come up and I like suppress it down and it goes away. And then I felt it come closer, and I start feeling this tingling going up my spine again. And then it started to get to my neck, and I screamed out Jesus like 3 times and sat up in bed, and everything it instantly went gone.
Were your eyes open?
No, I was asleep, but I knew I was dreaming at that point. Yeah. So
I got you.
Since I've started opening up to all this stuff, I have a lot of lucid dreams now.
So you basically what you've come to like summarize that situation is actually like that wasn't necessarily like an outside force, but something.
Yeah, and I don't know for sure, but when I look back at those experiences now, I feel like it was more of the darkness I was going through, because I had so many. I still we all have shadowy aspects of ourselves going through, and a part of Reiki is like releasing all of that. So it's literally your mind can release something and your body hasn't released it, like your DNA, your tissues, like everything. These stored emotions and experiences will stay in your body. So when you start releasing them out. It's scary because you're all of a sudden experiencing things that you're like, well,
do we manifest them? Do we? Are we just like manifesting them as the like, scariest thing that we can imagine, like personally, especially as like coming from a strict religious background, like all 4 of us, right? Like essentially, that is the most terrifying thing, right? Something that like demons and stuff like that, stuff that could affect your afterlife, right? We're talking about like everything, right? And when demons start playing with your souls and stuff like that, that's basically the pinnacle of evil and like the worst thing that could ever happen to you. And is that the only reason? Like, is that the reason why it manifests itself like that, even though it's coming from within you think, or?
I think it's kind of like, I mean, I do think there's some kind of evil out there, like just like if a spirit can't pass over or something, you know, they can definitely toy with people. However, like when you're having that type of certain experience, like I'm not going to have the same exact experience as you. It's like a filmmaker. They tell a story in a way that like is very unique to them, and you would tell it in a totally different way or show it a different way. Like my dreams are going to come out, like if we have the same experience tonight and we both go dream about it tonight, my subconscious is going to throw out like all these random things that I pick up on, like you know, I'm outside in a, you know, it's going to be like some weird spiritual setting by a waterfall, and yours could be like driving a car down the road, but it's meaning the same way, and it's just like your subconscious has to find a way to make it make sense.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I think it's the same when you're experiencing stuff like that. It's going to come out very different, because you can like, I mean, I've watched so many like spiritual teachers and coaches and all of this stuff, and they all say a similar message, but they all say it in a very different way. So if you're not grounded in what you believe and like find a way to like dig deep and figure that out, which Reiki is kind of my modality of doing that, it's easy to get lost and just be like, okay, well, I'm going to follow them because that sounds good. And then the next person comes along and it's like, well, which one's right? And it's really what's right for you, you know, like what you resonate with. And
gotcha. Yeah.
So was this assault on like the spiritual assault the start of how things started going?
No, I actually, it was a very strange start. It was meeting someone, and it was a very intense soul connection that I can't really describe, other than I knew after I met this person, I didn't know why, but I walked away. I was like, my life just changed. And I wasn't even thinking of that. There was a voice in my head that literally said that. And I had never, I'm like the most analytical, logical, you know, like questioned everything I grew up in and like didn't know what I believed at the time kind of person. So it was like, what is happening right now? And I knew something. It was like a switch in my brain or in my soul or something had just gone off. And so
basically you were you kind of felt aware of this whole universe that basically didn't exist.
It was like one of the, and other people, again, it was like all different experiences, but other people, you know, I've followed or like looked to for advice, they'll have these other spiritual experiences, like it was a dream or it was a car accident or like a death in the family or anything that sparks it. But for me, it was a very intense soul connection. That's a whole nother type of story, you know, because I think we all have those different people. Maybe it's past lives, I don't know. But that like woke it up in me, and so it was like several months of trying to figure out what did that mean, like that moment in time. Like I need answers, and I want logical answers. So I looked to science, and then I looked to the Bible, and then I looked back to science, and I started looking at other things and meditating more. And meditation helped a lot because it was like I was actually listening to what was coming up inside of me.
I feel like
How old are you?
I've been down this.
Don't you meditate?
I used to meditate every day.
When that happened?
Oh, no. Now, this was only like 3 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was like I was in a place in life where I was just, I think it was like that in between of, I don't resonate with this anymore. I feel guilty because and I don't want to knock religion at all because I have awesome parents. Yeah. I was raised in, a few different really great churches with great people. However, I didn't have the best experiences with them, and it felt very forced. And so I grew up with a lot of guilt. And I remember now looking back on it, I'm like, as a kid, why was I walking around feeling guilty about? What was I even feeling guilty about? And then like as I got older, I felt guilty about not feeling like I resonated with it. And then so.
Well, then it kind of comes back to like the whole thing about like it existing within your personalized to you, and it's like, which kind of like defeats the purpose of like organized religions. Like it's so strict about the way it must be, but if it's that important that it has to be specific to you, then it kind of like ruins it.
I think our consciousness and our brains are expanding. Like, I mean, look at how far we've come since even our parents were kids. Technology and the way the world works. Like, with everything really, even politics. So if you look at it in that regard, and our brains are expanding, like obviously we're coming into this new place where it's like, okay, we do need to just be ourselves, like to be able to open up these gifts, like whether it's healing or intuition or musically inclined, like whatever it is. That's if cool. You're just like living by this standard of what you think you're supposed to do and like unhappy all the time, you're not even opening that channel to be
such a truth.
To be open to things like comedy.
Yeah, there you go.
It's misery.
Oh, don't get me started, please.
That's because you have to do. Do you though?
I mean, that's our generation now. You know, we're at that point where, I mean, Instagram's helped that, social media in general. It's like people, there's pros and cons to it, but I think the good thing is people are having the ability now to just say whatever they want to say, and like put this podcast on YouTube, and just we can sit here and talk about anything we want to.
Yeah.
And people can either listen to it or not listen to it, and you're gonna find people that resonate and don't. And yeah, it just allows you, every time you put yourself out there like that. We talked about this earlier, but every time you put yourself out there like that, it gives you this empowerment to like do something you want to do and just live in a more fulfilled manner every day.
Yeah. Like Andy, you guys don't really like social media in the sense that you guys don't really. I'm not saying in a bad way. I'm just saying like.
No, I don't like it.
Sure. You don't like it at all. Yeah.
No, I used to do it, but I don't know.
I guess I don't like what its purpose is, but I think it ended up just getting used for all the wrong ways. And it's kind of like, I think a lot of people are using it right now and they don't realize that it's like affecting them negatively. Like I think there's a ton of people that are here right now listening or whatever it might be that are using social media and they think that it's like something that they want and they have like a craving for it, but it's just like it's not good for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you should put your mental effort somewhere else.
I will say that there are times where I look at my story and see who's looked at my post.
I just
know.
love
Yeah, I mean, like that to me is a problem.
It's a poison.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
That to me is a problem.
That, and it is.
But like that's just how everyone does that. You know what I'm saying? But like that is that's weird to me. Because you don't actually care about the person who's looking at your post. You don't actually care that person.
There's certain people I care that look at my posts.
I'm very much like, dude, I'm just like, look, if I cared about somebody like seeing that thing, I would just
care
like,
about
told
anyone.
Go look at my story.
Yeah, it's like I would never direct my friend, like my best friend in my story to go like learn about my life. It's like, dude, I'm just gonna talk to you. You know what I mean? That's the way I prefer to like keep all my relationships like that.
Yeah.
You know?
I will say that I've gotten way more into social media as being, and now that I've been doing comedy for a year now, I'm way more into it now because it's a part of.
I think I just think it's a marketing tool.
It's a
like that's basically all I think about it as.
Like I post stories of me on there. I post pictures of me doing stand up, and then people either reach out to me or people look at my page, and then they go, oh, like, hey, I want to come to a show, or oh, this guy's legit. Like look at all these pictures of him doing stand up. Like he's grinding out stand up. Like he's not just a guy that goes. There's people that do comedy that do one open mic a month and get on a show for whatever reason, and then they're like, I'm a comedian. Like I never said I was a comedian, and I still think that I'm more of like an open mic comedian, but I did get paid. What?
He just cracks me up. Right?
What, dude? What did I do?
Well, I don't appreciate you guys.
Let me just say that
I'm just teasing you, August.
Like for me, if I'm not trying to impress anyone, then like old school would be just like creating a photo album, because like I really just care about the like looking back at that moment.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't care what other people think about that moment, like and me in particular in that moment, but like I care about me
and the people in the photos.
And the people in the photos.
Yeah.
So like to me, I think it's more like now beneficial to me as like a photo album than it is to be like posting on social media.
Plus, I think it's like more special, right? It's like you and whoever it might be, like a whole group of your like best friends or whatever it might be. It's like nobody else has seen those photos, dude. It's just like you guys.
That's what Instagram used to be. That's why I liked it. It was like no Facebook talking, and like I don't have to care about your day necessarily, but it's just photos. And now it's like everybody's business is on, and I can't knock it because honestly, I get clients that I've never met before from Instagram.
Natural.
Yeah,
it's
no,
so
I think
natural.
it's really good marketing.
You get to be personalized to someone.
It's made people more accessible. So like someone that's trying to start their business, like Beka.
No, definitely.
100% needs to be posting and needs to be like grinding out social media because you're getting clients from it.
I told him on the way here, like one of the coach that I've worked with the most recently, and spent like I did a 9-week program with her, and then I went to this retreat that she put on, and we met in passing for a few minutes at a party a year ago, and we just started randomly following each other on Instagram. And I feel like I know her through her Instagram. And I just like her message.
That's cool.
And it's more than like, I have this, I don't know, it's like a double-edged sword. I hate posting I don't like being tied to it for these reasons. But I can't knock it because it's like I have bought clothes and items from Instagram because of things I've seen. I bought coaching programs and actually really benefited from them. And so it is. It's like that's a part of like what I'm trying to do is be more open about that on Instagram, just who I am. And I've gotten people that respond to that because they actually, because Reiki is a personalized thing too. It's not like I wouldn't want to just go to anybody to do it. And if I don't know what they stand for, what they're behind, like I don't know if they're someone I'd resonate with. So for me to put it out there and people are like, I like your message. I've been following you for a few months. I want to book a session. That's huge. Like that's what I need it for. But then you do have to watch the whole like, oh, okay, well, how many followers do I have now? And just like the things that don't really matter,
I think, that would be like the perfect application of it. Is like, that would be the only thing that would get me into it. Like, for example, if I needed to like self-promote or something like that, I would 100% have to.
You guys kind of should.
Yeah.
Yes, we should. You guys should post.
Oh, why don't we have a photo from every
I promoted
podcast
it on my Instagram before this, so.
You just take she did. She did one. You saw it, right? I didn't know. I didn't check it.
That's
we really. I mean, okay. It's just as an aside, we genuinely should take a picture of like, or I mean, we don't have somebody else to take it, but we should have an Instagram that just a photo of all of us like smiling before.
We have an Instagram, and a Gmail, and a Facebook. We
could be Instagramming right now while we're filming.
We have a NicoLost Instagram.
Yeah,
double videos.
Dude, why are you posting to it?
Dude, August, if you set it up, this was your responsibility, obviously.
I feel like we're getting off track.
I feel like I shouldn't have to.
No, these are the perfect.
I'm on the rails right now.
Like,
come on, why?
I will say this.
Family Feud.
It's fine. I don't want to say it, but I'm not going to say it.
We're just going to get established as August is.
You're
not doing us any.
Why can't I just be the talent?
Because we've already established.
Because you don't do anything.
Not that.
You don't do anything technical either. So like.
Yeah, that's why. Because I'm the.
I don't know, but I'm getting a straight up belly laugh out of Beka right now. And August going on the talent.
It was the way you said it.
Why can't I just be the talent?
This is how it should be.
Talent. God, in Bizarro world, man.
No. Whatever. We're all the talent, I guess.
It's true. And probably our guests are the talent more than anybody else, let's be honest.
No, you know, Becca, you're giving us some real insight today. You really are.
Why are you asking?
You're mad still that I laughed at that.
No, I'm definitely mad about that.
We're going to talk about that later.
Because if I say I'm the talent, I would like a strong
we're not
nod.
going to revisit this.
No one said yes.
No, I would like a strong nod, like, of course you're the talent.
No one said yes.
And everyone literally just goes,
oh.
It's just not funny.
Howling. Anyways,
gosh.
Okay, so I'll actually, unless you got something to say.
No, go ahead.
But I think this would be, I like where we're at, but now I want to get in, now I think it would be a good time to be like, okay, so what is Reiki specifically? In relation to like everything that we were
That's what I was actually going to say.
Okay. Have we said Reiki yet?
Hold on. We talked about this, Reiki?
All right.
Yeah.
How do you spell it?
Let's do it.
Reiki. So it is a form of energy healing. It's a Japanese, it has Japanese origin, and it, like listening to you guys and your background with the family, that just shows that there are multiple ways that people do something very similar. Energy healing, pain relief, pulling things out of people. I was talking to a woman who's a preacher the other day, just randomly, and she was telling me how she has sessions where she like basically feels like she's pulling things out of someone, like pulling negative energy out of someone. Yeah. But they call it the Holy Spirit, and it's so similar. Mine, it's just like a certain modality of that. But it's either hands-on or hands just above the body. You are channeling universal energy. So it's not, and I like to explain to people that I'm not giving them my energy, I'm not receiving their energy. I am just a channel for it. So I've been attuned through a Reiki master who has been attuned through a Reiki master. So it comes through a certain lineage because there's just a couple different types. Like if we were doing a session, I would first scan over the body and feel, like I can feel if there's any imbalance in you. So I check first off the main chakra points. So there's, I don't know if you guys know about energy systems, chakras, or anything.
I mean,
so
a little bit, but please explain.
I cracked a joke about Naruto to her, and she did not like it. when she was about to do Reiki.
Totally true. Though.
Y'all would go anime.
Totally true.
Come on, dude.
She
I'm
goes,
trying to
like,
have a serious conversation, dude.
I'm
Did I
sorry.
understand it?
No, she goes, well, do you know about chakra points? It's like, I know about chakra points. I watched an anime one time. Hey.
Anyway, so I think I just ignored it.
Sorry. Yeah, you did ignore that. You just brushed it. You're like,
I don't think
well,
I
he's
know
weirder.
nothing about anime, so
You're like,
I'm just gonna ignore that.
He's weirder than I thought he was. Brush on. So.
Yeah, just wait.
Let's
I need
hope
to
there's
get
no
out.
more signs.
Yeah, so there's a lot of different. So that's basically like an energy point in your body. So there's 7 main chakra points going from the base of your spine all the way up to the crown, and so each one corresponds with a different, several different organs in your body and different emotional aspects of you. So like for instance, the root chakra, the first one at the base, that's how grounded you feel, your safety. And so like if that's compromised in your younger years in life, if you don't feel taken care of, if you feel neglected or abandoned or anything like a lot of people have, and trauma doesn't have to mean like one major experience, but if you feel any trauma in your life or like neglect, that can stay stored in those energetic systems. So basically the energy is just not move, the chi, however you want to think of that, is not moving free flowing through your body. So what Reiki does in these different forms of energy healing is it clears that system out so you have a clear channel.
So the concentration of energy is like what you don't want.
Yeah, you don't want things blocked. So emotion, like stagnant emotions and stuff like that is what's going to block it. Even beliefs. I mean, there can be all types of stuff that just like basically gunk up the channel. Yeah. And so that can end up manifesting when it comes to your physical health. That can manifest in autoimmune disorders, tumors, like spontaneous disease, because those areas aren't functioning processed. They're not functioning properly. The energy's not going through those systems. So that's where like a lot of people look at this stuff like it's just woo woo. It's like, okay, it's all spiritual and there is a spiritual component to it and that's going to open up for you, but it's very much a physical thing. And that's actually how I work with people more, is because of my background in like nutrition and physical training. Just getting the body working like on all 3 levels, mind, body, spirit. So you have to work from the inside out, like layers. So get the energetic system right, eat right, then put the physical component, because to be well balanced, you have to have all 3. So with Reiki, you're pushing that through, and that can be for some people who are already more open and inclined to the spiritual aspect or spiritual side of life. That can very well open up things. Like for me, I didn't know what to expect in my first session, and it opened things wide up for me. I started having like crazy dreams and
that's cool.
I guess like you could call it clairvoyant experiences, like where I would have prophetic dreams, like a dream where there was this major accident on the connector, and 2 weeks later the exact accident, 8 cars at the same exit I saw it at happened. Like just crazy stuff. And this all started happening after and I'm not saying it was just Reiki, but that was like the thing that opened it up to the next level for me.
Do you feel like people who are more open to like Reiki healing when it does happen, do you feel like they have a better experience to people who are like more closed, like opposed to people who are more closed? Like,
very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Reiki...
Which is, let's be honest, this is like probably the main sticking point of like for any skeptics.
Yeah.
Right? This is what they're going to be skeptical of. It's like, if it works, then why does my skepticism influence whether or not it works?
Right? Well, like even if they're opposed, then it could work so much that they're like, oh.
Wouldn't your skepticism be the energy, like your blockage of energy though, technically? Like you're like physically blocking, if you like were skeptical, right? Like a main chakra point is like your head.
That's the third eye.
So like if you're like totally like, I don't believe in this, I'm blocked off, you're closing that third eye.
Then you would need a Reiki healer to
open
that up.
if it's closed, if it's totally closed and you're not open to it, then there's no way to open it probably, right?
So think about it like this. The placebo effect is a good example. If people are, your body has the ability to heal itself. Reiki is something that's going to enhance that fact. People who go into a study and they get the placebo pill and they think they're taking real medicine. Mm-hmm. They're believing so much that it's real. If you look at studies, there's like a 10% difference usually in the actual medicine patients and the placebo, because the placebo people are still believing that they're taking it and being told it's going to work. So their body is, their mind is telling their body to heal. So, or same thing if like you go to church, like the Holy Spirit might want to help you, but if you're closed off to it, you're probably not going to feel the effects of it. Yeah. If an addict gets sent to rehab but doesn't want to go, like court ordered.
But then I would say that it's all,
that's not going to work.
But then somebody could say basically then it's all a placebo effect.
I mean,
right?
You could say that about medicine and everything, to be honest.
Well, yeah, you could definitely say that about medicine for sure. Yeah.
So there's a level of belief, and this is honestly what really got me and like started down this path in general is neuroscience. And we talked about this earlier is the like neuroplasticity in your brain. So I am such a firm believer in beliefs and how that affects your body. Like if you're telling yourself a negative story or like living in this negative story from like childhood or whatever, we all tell ourselves stories every day.
Yeah.
Like why we can't do, XYZ, or why we'd never make it to this or whatever, why we can't meet this person. It's like we all have these little stories we tell each other or tell ourselves every day. If you can't get past those stories, you can't make a difference in your life. So when you start to open up your mind to, and Reiki is one of those things that can help you do that, just like get into the present moment, feel your body, be present with what's coming up in order to open up, then you're not going to see change. It might help someone relax, but that's about all at that point.
Yeah.
Saying that is like one of the most real things I've ever heard.
Yeah,
you tell yourself a story every day, and it's so true. So true. Like, whatever it is, it's like you tell yourself, I'm this person, these are these people, I accept this in my life, this is how things are.
You can always have those doubts, for sure.
You literally just tell yourself every day. You're not really, and you're not telling yourself as much as you're telling yourself it by living that story that you decide to live in. I'm this person. This is how I am.
Yeah.
And you can never change this story.
Despite not being there, like currently, for example, having that positive or negative outlook on who you are going forward, or no matter where you're at right now, what like you're saying is, that is going to influence where you're going to go.
Yeah.
So,
and you keep telling yourself that long enough, like that's what you are.
I think your beliefs are the biggest factor in anything that goes on in your life. Illness, like physically, where you get in your career, all of it.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like you can look at someone who is always busy and like always just working their tail off, like no matter what they do, and they're always at the same income level, and they never make progress, and there's like melancholy or whatever. And then you see people who believe no matter what they can get to the top, and like everybody around them might think they're totally stupid and totally irrational, but they believe it, and then all of a sudden 10 years down the road you see this person at the top of some company. It's like there's these stories all the time, and it's a matter of how much you believe that you'll let yourself
that
plus upper management loves to see that. Upper management loves to see some guy that's just like I will make it to the top, right? If I was if I was in corporate America and I saw some guy that's just like so dead set on making it to the top, I don't care. It's like, let him in, dude. This guy's insane.
No,
he's gonna be a savage once he gets
there is nothing. Well, there's not. I wouldn't say there's nothing, but extreme belief in yourself will get you places.
Yeah, I think other people feed on that too. Is kind of what I'm getting at.
Whether you want to be,
people respect that, and they like that, and they feed off of it.
Whether you want to be a professional athlete, or the top of the food chain, and whatever, like extreme belief in yourself will get you so far in life.
Yeah.
And it's hard because I don't think everyone can have extreme belief in themselves. I don't think anyone most people do not have the capability to believe in themselves.
I don't necessarily think that's people's fault though. I think that is like
their surroundings.
I think that is probably like that has a lot of influence, like basically on like their childhood and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like how they're brought up is like that. I mean, that now we're getting into like psychology and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like that, like being able to just like actually have like a positive image or whatever, like, hey, I'm going to get here or whatever. Like that is heavily influenced on the environment, which like.
But
you start creating all these ideas.
Yeah, but I think you have to be a special person to do it. But like an extreme belief in yourself, like will overcome any obstacle.
Oh, like I agree.
Even illness.
Yeah,
it's happening all the time.
Oh, there's a mentality like if you're like I'm not sick.
Dude, I'm not getting the flu shot this year because I've been telling myself I'm not getting the flu.
My little brother used to, little brother as a toddler,
I'm joking. I'm getting the flu shot though.
My little brother was so stubborn when he was little. Like we'd all get sick, and he was like, "No, I'm not getting sick." Like he's starting to get a fever.
Really?
My mom's like, "He's getting sick." He's like, "No, I'm not." And he would fight it off and not get sick. It's like this little 4-year-old literally just
That's
made
so
us
awesome,
all
yeah.
I gotta be honest with you, I'm still that stubborn because I hadn't gotten sick in like 2 years, 3 years, or something like that. Like I don't even have to knock on wood to be honest with you. Like
that is extreme belief in yourself.
Like I really believe
you actually do
I'm just at a point like it may be longer than 3 years. Like I'm just at a point where I'm just like no, I really think like half of it is at least mental, if not like more than that. And then the other half is just like maintaining, like exercising, like staying in good shape, eating healthy, all that stuff. That will lead to you just not being sick. So like as long as all those things, like mental, like your mental state, your body, like is all there checked in. Yeah. Then like you're all good. I don't even have to worry about it because
it's funny you should say that actually.
I just know
because and this has been, and maybe it's a trend that did or did not exist, but I always tell myself, and I've told my mom and dad this, I'm like, I get sick once a year. I'll get like really sick for like one time a year. And that could be part of the reason why I genuinely do get really sick once a year. Like, I really do.
You say that, though.
Yeah, I tell everybody that. It's like, I'm going to get sick. Like, I'll get sick once a year. And I do.
Your subconscious mind, your body doesn't know what's, like, true, what's false. Like, when you say something, this is going to kill me to do this. Or, like, you, like, say all these reasons you don't want to go to an event or don't want to go to work or whatever. And then all of a sudden you have a migraine or you have, like, a sickness come up. Your body doesn't know the difference. So, like, you have to be careful what you say and what you believe because it will manifest, and that's what people. If people are just like completely conscious of that, then you'd be so much more careful about what you think every day, like the repeating thoughts you have. Like
that's a big thing about anxiety and stuff like that too. Yeah. It's just like, you have an event planned or whatever it might be, and then you just start to think about like, oh gosh, like for one, all the little illnesses and things you like that start to get magnified. Like for me personally, I'll be like, my stomach is like really hurting, and I was telling you,
you're
and it's probably today. Honestly, it's like my stomach was killing me today, like all day, just killing me, and it's just like an anxiety thing or whatever. But you just can't like, it just feeds into itself unless you can like pull yourself like out, or somebody can pull you on the outside. It's just gonna keep like repeating itself.
Yeah. Well, I think with extreme belief comes discipline, like true discipline.
Yeah.
Like if you have a belief in yourself, you're gonna be disciplined. An extreme belief in yourself, the discipline level you're gonna have is higher than others.
Dude, I have a theory on this.
To a point.
We all have an inner monologue, right? Somebody,
for sure.
The person that you talk to, like the voice that you say in your head.
That you want to be.
Yes, basically. Exactly. And like that's the thing about the inner monologue and the person that's talking to you in me, and I think in most people, it's a positive force. Like it's something that's good. But people lose touch with being able to believe that person. Like if you can, essentially, it's like the movie Inception, but you are incepting yourself. Like if you're insane enough or you believe in yourself enough to where you can incept yourself into a good idea, like I think there's something so powerful to just be like, I'm gonna do this because it's now like a bug in my mind and I just can't get it out. But it originated within yourself. Like that is how you see some people that are just like crazy motivated and stuff like that. I think it's like some weird thing where they can just like convince themselves. And it's totally internal. Like and some people do
totally agree.
Some people do pull it from external things, for sure. But like as soon as I started, and I've had like a revolution on this recently. It's like, dude, you like telling myself like, Artie, you can believe yourself. Like that inner monologue, like listen to it because it's not wrong. Yeah. And as soon as I started to like believe that and just like listen to it and actually like not fight it or do the opposite of what it says, it's like I realized, oh crap, like that's actually always trying to help me. Like that voice is always trying to help me.
I think that's your soul, your intuition talking.
You think so?
Yourself. Yeah. Because a lot of times the inner monologue for people is really negative, and so that's where like that, like you're not good enough and you're not doing this well enough, and like you're really hypercritical on yourself. That's where a lot of anxiety comes from, and that's where meditation comes in because you're supposed to be able to take yourself into the observer seat and like watch what's going on. So like you know, if you're having those negative thoughts or like really anxious thoughts,
you can become aware of them.
You become aware of them. And it's like, would I treat my best friend like that? Would I treat my family members like that? Because then it's like, would I be that hypercritical?
Oh yeah.
But then that nice voice, I believe, is the true self coming through, like the soul.
And that's what. And I think that's why it's so good at like creating those ideas that can just totally take over your mind. Is like, but I don't know. There's like another part of your mind that like fights it, I guess, for some reason. And I think some people have that. Yeah.
There's always two sides of it. Like, I don't know. For like, I don't know. An example is working out. And that side that tells you you're not good, that's the side that also pushes you to work out more. You know what I'm saying? Like the side that's like, oh, you're not good.
Sides. There's the side.
There's a good side and then there's a bad side.
Oh, okay. You said the same side.
Yeah. No, I'm saying that side. There's two sides to it.
It's like your good side and your bad side are friends.
Yeah. That bad side is
Your bad side says I can't do this.
Yeah, you can't do it. So you push yourself more to like keep going through it.
That's your good side pulling the bad side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, fair enough.
Yeah.
I think everybody's got that true self, that higher self, the true soul, whatever you want to call that, and that's like gets completely blocked up, usually through like your conditioning, through childhood, through experiences, through relationships, through work, whatever. And then you kind of suppress that, and then that's when that negative voice comes in. It's like after a bad, like you get let go from a job, or you have a breakup, or you switch schools and it's a terrible experience. You keep that, and your subconscious keeps replaying that. So then that voice starts telling you.
Listen to the other guy.
Yeah, and then the same voice that our ancestors were getting told to be careful of going to this water hole because there's a lion there. You have to run. We have those in everyday life, so we get triggered. But then you have to just kind of let that observe. It's is this negative voice? You can tell which is good. Which is good for you. And if you turn into the good one or tune into the good one, that's where your real calling is, your purpose, your essence.
So do you think bad experiences in your life build up into this dark side of you, and then you have let's say someone with extreme belief who's saying okay, my parent, this is just an example. Our father never touched us, but he did, my dad beat the hell out of me when I was a kid, right? My girlfriend broke up with me, and it was devastating. I had all these bad things. They build up, and someone with extreme belief goes, this is nothing, and they crush it, and then they just continue on, where other people allow these dark things to happen in their life and overtake them, and then that's where I don't know.
I kind of agree with you, but I would say that the idea of crushing the bad things and all that stuff is I wouldn't take that I guess offensive point of view. I would just be just let it go. You know what I mean?
Right.
I wouldn't think to destroy all that stuff and totally erase those memories. Be you just gotta let them just float on down the river.
Yeah, but that's where you are in your mental state, to be able to do that. They're not somebody may not be able to do that.
That's true. If it works better for you, and we were saying earlier, to just feel that negative energy and that negative person or whatever. If you feel you need to attack that, then that might be what works for some people. Yeah. I
think the difference is too where some people are able to let it out, express it and feel it in the moment. And I mean that's terrible. That's going to form your life in some way, good or bad, in the future. Right. Yeah. Some people and many people suppress it, and it can be much smaller things like that. Then it can be 6th grade, someone said some terrible thing to you, and you've somewhere in your subconscious wedged that in, carried that with you, and so any breakup or person you date triggers you, or job, whatever. Yeah. So I think it's more about whether you can find a way to release it. So that's the work I do with people is trying to release it on deep levels, because when I started going through this awakening, I went through all of the mental and emotional part of it, or I should say mental consciousness part of it. So I felt my consciousness was expanding, my thought process was opening up, my belief system was changing, but I didn't realize that I had so much stored from not being able to release it at an earlier point in my life in my body. So then when that started, I still didn't feel my channel was clear, if that makes sense. Yeah. So when I started different modalities, whether it was yoga, meditation, Reiki, releasing all of those experiences that happened, I could literally feel it coming out of me. I wouldn't even know why I was upset at the time. I could be in the middle of a yoga class. It happened the other day, actually, and I thought, oh, I'm feeling great. I haven't been in a bad mood in weeks. Not sad about anything. And there was something the instructor talked about, releasing on your exhale. And so I just told my body to release anything that's there. Yeah. And I had tears streaming down my face, and I'm where is this coming from? And it literally, I could feel it release out of my chest. That's
crazy. Yeah.
And then after that, it was I felt so clear. For days, I would just feel so clear. And home and journal. I mean, so there's those experiences. I think it depends on how much people bury it down and aren't able to have an outlet to, or able to. And some parents, if it's a terrible situation like that, or terrible relationship, some people don't allow you to ever talk about your feelings, so then you're the rest of your life you hold everything in, so then it just keeps compounding into this terrible issue to where all of a sudden your seat of your sacral chakra, a lot of people have issues there. It's below the navel. That is your creativity, your sexuality, your kind of your personal power. Those chakras in the lower side, a lot of people don't have that. They don't feel open in that area, so then it makes them not really feel open, able and available for life, at that point.
So what are the main chakra points?
So you have the root at the base of your spine, the sacral chakra just below the navel, solar plexus. The solar plexus is more about that's more your personal power and how you give and receive, or receive people, put yourself out there. Your heart chakra, which is at the chest, and it's giving and receiving love. So a lot of people can give love, and so they think their heart chakra is very open, but they don't have the ability to like really receive it, or they don't feel worthy because of whatever beliefs or things that happen. So if you're not,
super common. Actually.
It's so common. Like I used, because I've always been like give to everybody, like family, friends, and like thought, oh, my heart chakra must be great, and then I realized no, it's way out of balance, and I've never been able to like accept, or at the time like accept a compliment well, or like feel okay being in the spotlight or like anything, because it was all like a worthiness thing. So that wasn't a free-flowing place for me. Moving up your throat chakra is like how you can speak your truth and how well you can put things out there and just like be open to talking about all of this. The third eye, the one you were talking about, is the intuition. So like how clearly you see things, and like your surroundings, like what you're picking up on. Your crown chakra is like just above the head, and that is your how open you are to the spiritual realm, and whatever that looks like for you. It doesn't have to be like ghosts and demons or any of that stuff, but going to church, like whatever it is, that higher power that you believe in.
Right.
And there's a lot of other little ones all over your body, but those are the main ones. So like in a Reiki session, that's what I would focus on. Any imbalances there. So I can run my hand over someone, and if there's a lot of blocks somewhere, my hand, there's like 4 to 5 different levels that I'll feel. And so it's normal, and then I'll run over one, and it's like my hand starts tingling. And then sometimes it'll like get really hot. And so there's like different levels of that to where I know how much is blocked there. So I usually like work over the whole body first, and then I go back to that area, and I just have my hands over it or on it until that feeling stops. And then I'll go back over and feel it again and make sure it's open and free flowing. And a lot of times after, I mean, I've had people like get up and just be like, oh, I feel so inspired, or some people are like, they burst into tears, or it can be anything.
How long does this take? Like,
I usually do hour sessions, but it just depends. It can be less or more.
That's interesting.
What did you do afterward besides the crying?
Well,
I mean,
save that.
He usually sobs.
Yeah, like 4 or 5
sobs.
4 or 5 hours, 4 or 5 days later after all the crying.
Sob.
What was after the crying? I guess I would.
First of all, I wanted to make.
It was more like a. I don't know.
It's a light weep.
I want to make this.
It was a light weep.
I want to joke in this, but like I'm professional.
I want to make this clear for the record. I did not sob. All right.
You weeped.
Yeah, weeped.
First of all, stop.
You wept.
I don't appreciate you guys using these ridiculous names for crying. These.
Even in the Bible, Jesus wept.
Yeah.
Jesus did weep.
There was some tears. There was some light. There was some light water that had left my face. That was fun.
He had allergies.
He had allergies.
No,
Zyrtec cleared it up.
I mean,
Zyrtec.
I got a little touched in that session too. It was pretty intense. I'm not gonna lie.
I feel like from here on, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? Like, third eye crown. This is the intuition, and this is like the whole surrounding thing.
I know for sure the heart one. Yeah, it's like I would way rather like give to other people than ever receive.
Yeah. Like, I'd way rather.
I'm the same way. Like, don't ever. I don't
rather
receive compliments. Like, I will take a compliment at me and just throw it in your face. I'll be like, oh well, you look good today, or something like that.
Notice that. Go around your day complimenting people tomorrow, and see how many people genuinely are able to accept it, and how many people get really awkward. Especially like I know women for sure do it, but like everybody does to a degree. I think.
Not in the office though.
What do you mean?
Well, you gotta be careful.
Just
be careful of your compliments. Just be like, that's, those are nice shoes today, Karen.
Yes, shoes, bracelets, leave it at that.
Leave it at the upper and lower.
But be careful how you say
it.
Keep it very external limbs only.
I
like your watch.
Don't say, just say, those are nice shoes. Don't say, those
would look great on my bed.
Okay, we're not going to go there.
Those are nice shoes, Karen. Don't say it like that.
So you took it there. I don't know.
It's tone, man.
Anyway, so
I don't like the fact that he can access that person. So
yeah,
I know.
It's too creepy. That was too quick.
That was
too quick.
Oh yeah, I feel like he's accessing somebody that has been there for a long time.
Tapping into
Reiki.
We need some MIB like memory,
but Reiki can take that.
Well, I think it is a good time to talk about my Reiki session.
Yeah,
yes.
Let's go.
I know very little about this, but I want to hear
Beka
all of it.
full professional. What is it? Release.
Courtesy.
it's not courtesy.
Yes, that's what other professionals say. Yeah.
Because I will say this is like it is all very much. I remember a lot of it. I think I kind of shared a little bit with you guys.
I don't remember any of it.
You should remember all.
I will say it was very much a blur for me, especially afterward. I will not lie. The feeling that I had afterward was crazy and scared, for sure. I mean, I slept with the lights on.
It was intense.
Yeah, it was very intense. I did not expect that because
But you have like weird fears and stuff like that.
You
right?
do.
Yeah. It's
Well,
like,
I
but like
that.
we established earlier, like August
Totally.
entering any type of spiritual realm, he's just scared about it. Like, and that's true, right? It's like what you were saying earlier is just like the fact that there are demons there means you never want to go there ever.
I feel like I will say this. I feel like I'm 5 steps to holiness and 1 step to the darkness, dude. Like it's like I'm very much.
You got your back against the wall.
I'm very much closer to the darkness. So
I felt that for a long time.
Yeah.
I think that's a belief, dude. I think that's purely
I
belief.
I actually feel a lot of things. So.
I think that's purely belief. To be honest with you.
I do think your own beliefs are influencing that.
So
state,
fear. I mean, every feeling is valid. Every emotion we have is valid, but fear creates a lot of blocks in people. So there's probably like to dig deeper. There could be something from the past. You know, like clearly your family has a lot going on that you heard of as a child. Are you the oldest?
Yes.
So you probably experienced some of that like early on, and there's my thought process would be that you took something from that, and like that's become a big fear and just manifests itself into something different. It's still valid, it's not something to ignore. But.
No, it's wrong. It's
dude, but maybe we had like us to talk to, right? Like if since you're the oldest, maybe you didn't have someone to talk to about it.
Not to mention you're 5. You got 5 years on me, and I only have what 1.5 years on you.
Yeah.
Something like that.
2 years.
Yeah. So you were alone and that stuff.
2.5.
We're only 1.5 years apart.
2 years.
Is it 2?
Yeah.
Is it 2.5 or 1.5?
So 24. You're 26.
Hey.
It's like 2 years.
Yeah, I got a break. I've got I forget sometimes that I'm much older than you guys. But anyway,
you are 2 years.
All right, 3, 2, 1, break. Let's go. So my Reiki session. Let's be honest. I was a little skeptical at first, but I've known Beka for. I mean, we really didn't. Well, we knew each other from the gym. I think you were like my trainer for the first day.
It was the ghost talk.
It was a ghost talk.
It was ghost talk.
Did he tell you a story?
No.
You told me something about you told me your grandmother was a hands-on healer, and I was like, oh, so he's into this, and so I felt like I was open to get to my weird, because I don't open the weird up right away,
Yeah.
But that was only like a
year or two.
Or
How skeptical were you actually?
That was only like 5 months ago, probably 4 or 5 months ago.
August, would you say that this has changed your life?
I would say it has made me realize. I don't think it's changed my life yet. I think it needs more time to change my life, but it definitely is
It's festering in a good way.
Well, I will say this: I 100% believe in Reiki healing now. Like, there is no doubt in my mind after what happened that legitimately there's things that I felt that there's no way I could deny what happened, and there's things that happened that I can't deny either. Like things that would be like so improbable, and literally almost impossible.
That we're gonna get into.
Yeah, for sure. So
let's go to the beginning.
Building it up,
Let's go to the beginning because I want to know. I don't know. I have not really heard this whole story, but I want to get into it. Let's go through the whole thing.
So like Becca and I were talking about that, and then I think Becca mentioned that she was doing Reiki, and then she went away for like a couple weeks or whatever.
Yeah, to get a master level.
And so when she got her master level, not that it didn't matter to me personally it didn't matter if you were.
I mean, I was doing sessions before that, yeah.
But you were like, I'm a master level. Like, you should just try it or something like that.
I think that just opened the conversation.
Yeah. And I said, you know what, I want to try it. And so...
it's only $39.99 a month.
For the rest of your life. Besides the contract, he wasn't even aware of.
Did you look up anything before you did it?
I actually didn't.
You really didn't? Okay.
No,
cool.
That's perfect.
Blind. Yeah, I think that's good. Yeah.
Well, we'll say like over the months, over the year that I've known Beka, because I started at the gym in November. Is like I didn't really start going to classes in the afternoon till like January, February.
Yeah.
And then, like, we just always talked or whatever. And then we started talking about ghosts and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, like this.
I've just put it out there. That's not usually how that starts. It's not like ghosts are associated with Reiki. So yeah. But that is how.
But
like,
that was August
opening.
like channel through which he could get to like, hey, I'm like, I believe in like spiritual stuff too, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
and then he's like, oh, okay, now I can actually believe that I can do something like that's out of my comfort zone, called Reiki Healing.
Because he trusted you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I trusted Beka, and so
Fair enough.
like I decided, okay, well, like, I'm gonna give this a shot.
Yeah.
And so.
He actually responded to one of my Instagram stories about sessions.
What a creep.
He did. And
Split the DM on
all
Instagram,
comes
and
back
that's how
to
it all
social
started.
media.
Oh my god.
First of all,
let's not forget about what August was using that for initially. Let's.
I feel like we're giving Instagram a lot of publicity right now that doesn't need to be given.
stop supporting Instagram. Anyway, whatever.
Anyway, so I think he
I'm
was
on a
open-
5-year
he was
ban.
open to it. I think Reiki very much calls to people, because I'll put it like this: when I had heard about it I heard about the healer that I go to through a friend of mine years ago, and this is when I was like very closed off to that. Still had no idea really what I believed or would never. It still was in that mindset of like anything outside of like what I was raised believing in is the devil. So I just assumed like that's bad. That's anything. It's like psychic stuff and whatever. So for me, when it was like, you know, a couple of years went by, and then this awakening stuff started happening, those experiences that I mentioned earlier, and it was all of a sudden like I want to go to that. That's the only thing, like something I woke up one day literally thinking like, I'm going to call my friend that told me about this woman 3 years ago. And
oh, no way.
that's, it was so random. It wasn't like someone brought up Reiki. So, that's how it started for me. And I think it was kind of like, it calls to people. It's not like I tell my friends about it, or I tell people in passing when they ask what I do, but I don't, it's not like something you would advertise for, like market for it, like a normal business, like my personal training, because I don't want to just work with anybody. I want to work with someone who's open and at the point where they feel like they need it for whatever reason or want to experience it.
Yeah. So like we were
so
talking
then what,
about
you guys
it.
have been chatting.
Did you feel like you needed it, or did you feel like you wanted to experience it?
I just wanted to experience it. Like,
you were curious.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, I had friends at the gym, but like really the person that I was like that talked to the most was probably you at the gym, and you were really dead set on Reiki, and you'd done these things, and I was like, oh well, I want to see what this is all about, because, you know, Becca's a Reiki healer and she believes in it. Yeah. And, you know, I believe in the supernatural. So, like, I was like, well, let's just, I want to try it. I want to.
Let's let these worlds collide.
Yeah, like, let's see what's, like, I want to see what's going on, because, like, I see her basically, I see you like 3 times a week. I see you more than I see any of my friends or you guys, really. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, if she's this deep into it, then there's something to it. And I wanted to see what it was. So we scheduled a session, and I think you came over to my house, or my place, like, I don't know, one night. And it was, like, super weird at first for me.
This is a weird segue.
That's a weird segue.
Is that a weird segue?
No, that's totally normal though.
The same creepy vibes that I was getting initially at the start of the story.
I've got to stop being creepy. Anyway.
You want me to take it over?
Oh boy.
Becca, you want to please take it over.
Into it.
Let's do it.
Yes.
So
let's start it. Yeah.
I get there, set up, and I asked him beforehand. I was like, "Is there anything specific?" And this is a very standard process for me. I like to sit with people first, especially that have never done it, because most of the people I work with have never tried it before. So I explained to them what you could feel, and it can be different for everybody. Every individual person, like all 3 of you would probably experience something a little different. It can be different within your experience for each person. Like every time I go to my healer, it was like sometimes it's just this profound thing. Like I'm seeing visuals and like I feel something right away. And then sometimes I just feel really relaxed. And over the course of a week or 2, I just gain a lot of clarity. And it's like this. Yeah. Basically, it creates like a lot of self-awareness within you. So because it's clearing all that stuff out. And to me, because of my background religion, you guys will probably appreciate this. I think of it like the Holy Spirit or like God. Like there's never going to be something given to you that is too much. but like it's not going to be too strong. It's not like the Holy Spirit's going to come in and be like,
yeah,
there you go, you know. So it's whatever you're ready for in the moment. For people that have a more intense experience, it's because they're more open, they're more ready for it. So I honestly didn't expect it to be as intense because he was just really doing it out of curiosity.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that, but actually, once you hear our background,
yeah,
like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, now I know a little bit more. But so we talked a while beforehand. I think we might have read some cards before, like going into it. And it was all, we did read some before.
What
all
cards? What are these?
So I read oracle cards,
Okay.
and that's not necessarily a standard part of Reiki. And I do it individual, whether I feel it in a session, but I ask someone if they're open to it. And for me, that's more so, like I get intuitive feelings right away. Like I usually go into like a little meditation and kind of a tap in before a session with someone. And I go try to feel out like what we're going to be focused on, like what I can expect before I even show up there and work with them. And then I just kind of back that up with the cards. And so we did a card reading, and I pulled from like 4 different decks, and they're all different messages, but every single time they all play into each other. Like I'll pull one from deck A and it says this message, and the next one has a message very similar, and it just keeps building. So his all came in this, after this conversation makes so much more sense, all about angels and protection, and kept saying, like reiterating the fact that he is protected right now. And so, you know, at the time,
he has so much fear.
Yeah, exactly. And like now that we've had this conversation, that makes
because he was weeping
all the sense.
Before he went to bed.
Well, you did. I will say, like when we first started, is like you said like, well, let's pray, like because I think you were trying to get me more comfortable because I was very nervous. Like when she got there, I was very like,
I could feel it.
Unnerved about it. So like we were like listening to like real chill music and just kind of talking. And I think you asked me like, well, what do you want from this session? And I think I wanted guidance on my path because I've been feeling a little lost, especially with the things that are going on with work, which is like work is you identify as a person in a lot of ways to like what you do with work, especially here. And so I was like, well, I feel kind of lost because like there's things going on at work and everything. Yeah. So I asked about that. I think I mentioned like I had felt, and this is super personal or whatever, is I felt I needed guidance for that. And then I also talked about there were like some heartache as well in my life that had happened recently with me. And so so she like started pulling cards. I think we kind of was very open about it. I was just like, well, this was happening with me. This girl who left and kind of was leaving, and it was a mess for me internally. And then of course like me feeling kind of lost, like, and so I think we kind of dived into the heartache thing. We kind of brushed over, which was totally fine because really it's the bigger thing for me was like guidance. Like I need to know what I need to do next because I feel a little bit lost in this world. And so like really we started I think we pulled some cards for the heartache thing because we pulled the Queen of Thorns or something like that.
Yeah, we pulled a few, and it went very it was very spot on for what you described. This person's personality and like just kind of how the whole situation happened.
Like selfishness, stuff like that. Like
I just keep going back to $39.99 a month. I'm sorry. And August is over here thinking. August came in and he's like, I mean, I'll pay the extra $15 for the card reading too.
Well,
okay. Stop, dude. I'm so sorry. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Wow. That is...
Okay, you were good.
Anyway.
Just imagine the background of everything you were saying. It was just 39.
It's like a neon sign, and I'm holding it.
This is not at all what happened. Sorry.
3, 2, 1 scale. So like I just needed guidance. Yeah. And so we started pulling cards, which obviously, from my standpoint, I thought of it as like more of like a probability game. At first, but then we started.
What do you mean?
Well, she pulled.
Well, like she pulls cards. Like, what is the probability of her pulling that card?
Yeah. So like, because this is before the Reiki session too.
So you're questioning it right here.
For sure, because it's like, okay, like you have 4 decks. What was it? 5 decks?
4 decks.
4 decks.
How many cards and how many unique cards each?
There's like 55 cards.
All unique?
All unique, yeah.
Okay.
And I'll go into that in a minute.
Yeah. So like, I was like, I just need guidance. Like, am I on the right path? Like, is this comedy thing the right thing for me? Like,
no.
Like, is this helping my life? Which inherently I kind of know it is a good thing for me, right? Like, it makes me happy. And so, she started pulling cards, and they just kept being, like, all of them were like angelic protection cards. It was so weird. And
you're on the right path. You're being protected.
Yeah.
All of that. And so it happened. So many, like every card from. I mean, I think I even pulled a couple cards from each deck, and every single one went. It was like in conjunction with the next one. And so finally, I said, okay, I know you've never done this before, so I want to show you that not every card is all love and light and angels. So I just like picked up a couple of random cards from the deck and showed him, and it's like, you should be in nature, or you should, like,
really?
Different.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to, and I do that for people because I'm like, if it all is the exact same, I'm like, I just want you to know that that's not.
What is the feeling like when you pull the cards? Is it just your feeling like above the card, or is it like?
So I tap into it the same way I tap into someone's body. And I think everybody has a different way, but like the same way I do the a scanning technique, I do it over the cards. So I wait till my hand, and I go into, and when he said the prayer, like I've never actually done that with someone else before. I always go into a prayer before the session, before you meet with someone, and then right there in the moment I ask for guidance, and because I take that seriously. I'm not doing it just like let's have a fun little game here. So for him though, because I know he does have more like spiritual background and it was nervous and I could sense that, I said, why don't you go into a quick prayer of to whoever you feel comfortable talking to, whatever's going to like set you at ease, and just ask for protection, ask for guidance, ask for the right things to come through. And so I did the same thing. And so it did make it, it instantly, I felt like put the energy was a lot more at ease after that. So right when we did that, all these angel cards start coming up like for protection. I was like, okay, well that's
creepy.
That's giving you it feels creepy, but now I'm used to it. So we'll get into the session.
Yeah.
Okay. So I start working on him in the session, and I'm going to tell my side first, and then you can tell what you experienced physically. Yeah. So every session is a little bit different for me. I don't do the same thing. I don't feel the same thing. I go in the same order usually of someone's body. Yeah. But at some point, like I usually start at the feet. At some point I was over his chest, and when I say intuition, like a voice in my head, it's like a thought that's being put in my mind and it's not from me, if that makes sense. Yeah. So like a word comes up, or it could be like, because my eyes are closed, I'm basically in a meditation. So it's like a word comes up in my mind or a thought that's just not from me. So I had this thought, like, ask if someone else is in the session helping. And I've never had that feeling before. I'm getting chills thinking about it. So I asked, and I heard Mary. I was like, okay, well, Mary Magdalene has been seen in my sessions before from my healer. Yeah. For whatever reason, like, she was in there with me. But I thought that was weird. Like, Mary Magdalene is not, I don't feel like that's not her presence. I've felt that before. And so I asked again, and it said, Mother Mary. I was like, okay, well, I've never connected with Mother Mary. I'm not Catholic. Nothing against it, but I just don't have any connection with her. And so it didn't really dawn on me.
Did you know he was Catholic?
Well, it didn't dawn on me. He had told me in passing a long time ago, but it didn't dawn on me until a few minutes later. I was like, oh, he's got Catholic upbringing, so that makes sense. Yeah. So I go
we revere her as much as.
So far, I go from his head or from his chest to his head, and then I'm like at his head and shoulders, and I could feel her in the room, and so I got a couple messages just saying that she was there helping, and I was like, this is so bizarre. It's weird. Like I've never even felt the need to ask if somebody was in the session. Yeah. So we finish up, hour-long session, whatever. It was very intense. Like some people, I always feel the Reiki moving through me, but I don't always feel it really intense. Like some people I can put my hands, and it's always around their shoulders or head that I feel it the most. Sometimes I'll put my hands in, and it's been so strong that it feels like my hands are like being sucked, like suction cups down to someone's body. And yours wasn't quite that strong, but it was like the feelings out of my hand was just, it was so tingly and so hot.
It's so weird.
And so I finish up on the head part, and then I do this sweeping technique that I learned from one of my first Reiki masters, where you basically like from the shoulder down to the foot, sweep the energy off. So you like kind of clean everything out. Just like one final sweep. So I go through that, and then I sit down, and he sits up and looks like he had just seen a ghost, and I'll let you go into what you felt.
So like this, like the session is like you're laying on this table, and I'll just start from the beginning of this part. It's like you're laying on this table, and like I know, you know, I can hear Beka, but I can't sense her. I can sense her, but I can't, like, my eyes are closed.
Yeah.
Like, I can kind of hear where she's at, and so like, but I really can't tell if she's like putting her hand on my, like, over my chest.
Were you actually touching him or no?
Some places, like because chakra points, and obviously like where they are located, like sometimes it's just hands over, but like on shoulders and head, usually it's like hands on and feet.
Yeah. And so I felt weird like the whole time. Like it felt weird. And so like, and by the way, this lasts like
an hour.
Yeah, it's a long time. Like it's a long time. Like it's not 5 minutes and you're out. It's like an hour, and she's like focusing on you, and like, so I felt like I could feel like kind of where she was kind of over me at the time. And as she got close to my legs, so like I don't know how long you spend on each chakra point or whatever, but like she got close to my legs, I like was like, this like feels weird.
It
like,
started at your legs. I think you felt the leg thing when I was at your head.
Well, that's the thing is like, so when you went to my legs, I thought you put your hands on my feet and pressed down.
Well, like, was actually really at your head.
Yeah, so like this is probably
weird.
Pretty deep in. This is probably like, I would say like
that's super weird.
Like I would say this is like 40 minutes in.
So this is when, for clarification, I was at his shoulders because I started the feet. I moved up to his shoulders, and that's when I had that moment where I asked if someone was in there, and I got the answer, Mother Mary. So my hands are at his shoulders, and after he's explaining to this, he was like, I felt pulling at my feet. Yeah. And he was like, I felt your hands at my shoulders, but then I thought you were at my feet, so I couldn't figure out like where you were on my body, because there was like this, somebody was holding. He said it was like stronger.
Did you feel like there was another person in the room?
No, well, I did, because I realized. So like the weird thing is like the whole time, like because you're in your own head the whole time. Like this whole session, you're in your head, and I kept thinking about like guidance and everything, and I just kept seeing myself on stage. You know, like I kept seeing myself on stage with like the light in the background of me in front of faceless people. Yeah. And I felt like really good about that. And then when she moved my feet, or when she moved away from my feet, when she was doing that, like I felt like I felt like she had put both her hands on the top of my feet. So my feet are up like this, and I felt like her hands pushing on them. And I was like, dude, she's really pushing hard on my feet. Well, then, as I'm doing that and I'm visualizing these things in my mind, I realize I hear her walking to my head, but the weight on my feet is strong, getting heavier. And so I know she puts her hands like on my shoulders like that, and like literally, it's like I literally sit there and I kind of start freaking out because I'm like, something is pulling on my feet. Like hard. Yeah. Like someone is like
not discomfort though, or was
not painful, but it's like it felt like you're like, it literally felt like someone had their hands on the top of my feet and they were just pulling down. Yeah. Not hard, but like to where like my feet, I knew in that moment, I was like, I cannot lift my feet. There's no possible way I can lift my feet. It's so heavy. It felt like my feet were like, had hundreds of pounds on both legs, like just sitting there, but not in a bad way, but just like, I'm stuck here. And I was like, do not freak out. Like, don't freak out. Like, let this ride. Like, whatever it is, like, I have a good feeling, like, just let it ride. And so, like, Beka ended the session, and,
I did the sweeping technique.
Yeah. And when you started sweeping, like it went away.
Like you said, like when I went to that foot, that side of the body, I moved it off of you.
It was like off. And then she's like, you can sit up now. And I sat up and I looked at her and I was like, whoa. Like,
I'm drunk.
Did you?
no, well, that's the other thing. It's like you have a very...
$39.
No, I'm just kidding.
you have this really weird feeling. Like,
Square cash. I'll take it all.
Is you have this really weird feeling after it happening. Like, you really feel... And it felt really... I mean, I sat up on the table and I was just like... And I was looking at Becca and I was just like... That was really intense. And I was like... But I felt like someone was pulling on my feet and I thought you were kind of surprised by that or something along those lines. Yeah. I will say this is like I felt very out of it.
Yeah.
Like afterward, like very much.
You were meditating?
Yeah.
You were very affected by it.
Yeah, I felt.
What time of the day was it? Like
it was late.
It was after gym class, like 8 o'clock.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I think it was probably like 9 o'clock when this happened. Like when we got done.
I'm just trying to gauge your like mental state.
Well,
it was like in the middle of the night or anything, but like
9 o'clock at night, I'm wide awake. So like I felt, and I told her this when we were sitting down. Is like I did not feel grounded to earth at all. I felt like I was floating.
Yeah.
The entire time, like I could not feel. I mean, I could feel myself walking, but I felt like I was, like walking, but my mind was like 2 inches off the ground. Like I physically felt like I was not on physical plane, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
So like I was there and I was sitting down and I just felt very spacey and kind of very odd. But I was also freaked out because like this foot thing. Hands thing, like people putting like someone holding my feet down. And so like I just didn't know really what to do. I was like very lost in the moment. And we started talking.
So I told him after.
Yeah. And I think you said like, well, I felt like someone was in a room or something. Maybe
I told you.
Yeah.
So I told him when he said that, I was like, well, out of nowhere, when I was starting to move up towards your head, I had this feeling like I should ask if someone's here. And the first answer I got was Mary, and I went through that with him. And normally I don't really read cards after the fact. Typically it's just before. And it's like different with every session. But I said, I have a feeling we should pull a card. And the minute I said it, my stomach literally turned. And it wasn't like a scared nervous because I trust fully. Like the whole time I was in the session, I mean, like off and on during the session, I pray. Like, and I talk to Jesus and it's like, use me as a channel. Whatever this person needs, if there's a message that needs to come through, if there's just something, use me as a conduit, to do whatever needs to happen. So I trust it, but I was still nervous because it came out of my mouth and I knew the minute
you knew you were going to pull a card that was going to have a huge effect on him. Basically.
So I have I have a card. I have this one deck that's called Keepers of the Light, and it's all different ascended masters, and it's like 55 card deck. So like Buddha, Jesus, Mother Mary, everybody in between, like Indian culture, like everything, so every different type of God and person. So I shuffle it multiple times. I shuffle it like 5 times and I lay the deck out. And before I go pick it, I was like, why don't you pick it? And he said, no, I want you to pick it. I was like, okay. I close my eyes and as I do it, I just get this tension in my stomach. And I was like, if it says her, like, and I go over the deck and right in the middle, it heats up. I pull the card. It's Mother Mary because I asked who was in the session with us. I don't know if I said that, but like as I was shuffling, I said, "Tell us who's in the session with us. Who was in the session?" Laid it out, pulled it, and we both just looked at each other for probably like 2 minutes. Like that's when there were. I think I teared up a little bit.
Yeah,
I was like,
that would get me.
I've never
connected
with Mother Mary. I felt Jesus in the session. I felt other people. But for it to be so loud and clear in my mind, and even ask like Mary Magdalene, like who, it's only Mary I've seen in a session,
and to go into that level of specificity, and come up.
And it didn't hit me until a few minutes after the fact that like, oh well, he has Catholic upbringing, so that would make sense. But that's still like, wow, that came into my mind. Someone put it,
that's bizarre,
yeah.
And he basically, you're tapping into something that he's already carrying. So like, Mother Mary or what is kind of like there with him. Yeah. Because you wouldn't necessarily see her with like a Buddhist person or whatever it might be.
Yeah, like it's different for everybody. For me, my first session when I went to a healer, it was Archangel Michael and Jesus in there. Like it was, and that was because, that was what sold me on Reiki the first time because I was terrified. I cried out in my car. I talk about weeping. I was so scared. So I was also going through a lot of stuff, and I was like, what if I'm entering something bad? What if I'm like all those background things from childhood? I was like, I was legitimately terrified, but there was also something so deep in me pulling me to go that I thought, whatever, you know, I'm going to trust. I'm going to take a leap here. And so I spent 5 minutes in the car praying, and I asked Jesus specifically to stay in the session with me. I said, just hold. I want to feel you holding my left hand. And that's how specific I was. And so after the session with my healer, she said, you know, she sends people in there sometimes ancestors, whatever. And she said, I sensed Archangel Michael. It was like he was holding your hand in here. And she was on my right side, and she points over to my left hand. And I was like, Archangel Michael's like the same thing kind of as Jesus, right? And she was like, yeah, in Christianity, that would be. I was like, oh my God. I mean, so specific for her to say he was holding your hand. And that's what I prayed for. Yeah. And then every other session I've been in with her, it's been different. It's like, I don't pray for the same. I mean, I still ask for protection and guidance in it, but it's been different stuff. Like one time, one of my grandmothers was in it. So, and I feel very connected to her. Mm-hmm. So it's not always the same thing. It's not like you just like spew out like, you know, choice of the deck or whatever. It's very specific.
Yeah, but it was crazy. Man. I will say this is when she pulled a card, like one, we did like, I was like, what is happening right now? And two, and I think I said, I was like, this is impossible. Like the amount of probability that it would take for you to pull the card out of the deck is so ridiculous. Like the chances.
Yeah. And for me to even feel like we should pull it, because the minute I said it, I was like, we should ask who was
You knew what you were going to pull.
Well, no. Well,
or did you
maybe intuitively I did, and that's why my stomach clenched up, because I still have moments like I'm human, so I doubt myself, and I'm like, is this thought coming from...
I was going to ask you that. It's like, was that a human feeling, that your stomach feeling like that, or was that part of...
I think my body is so in touch with... Like, I feel things very empathically, and for me, like, I'm not clairvoyant in the sense of seeing things so much. Like, my dreams, I have weird things happen, but I don't really see, like, I don't see visions, and I don't see that kind of stuff. I don't see spirits around you or auras or any of that. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if like it keeps growing, but for me, it's all sensation based. So in my body, I feel it. Like, I'll know instantly if there's something off with someone because I feel it. Like, I've walked into a room and had a headache instantly, and asked someone next to me, like, now that I know that I feel this stuff, and I walk out of the room and it's gone, and I walk back, it's there. Like, I'll ask somebody, do you have a headache? And they're like, yeah, I've been like dealing with this headache, sinus headache or whatever for 2 hours. And so I feel the same thing in a session.
Oh, I get you.
And so like one of my first training sessions, I was moving my hands over the girl and a couple inches above her, and I got up to her neck, and her eyes are closed, and my ears started getting really hot, and I don't get flush there. And I was like, this is like a weird, what's going on, you know? And I was like moving my neck around, and so we finished the session, and I was like, did you feel anything weird? And she was like, my ears just got so hot. Like, I feel like I get tension up here, and I felt heat. It's like, well, okay, I guess that's what I was feeling. Yeah. So for me, that's where I know I can also, it's like using the cards. It's the second way to double check your intuition, because I'll actually feel it in the place. Wow. And so for him, it was just like all of a sudden this voice, or not even, it's not like I hear the voice, but it's like a thought that pops in, like, pull a card. And I'm like, okay, well, we should ask. But the minute I did, that's when I clenched up, because I was like, I feel like we're about to experience something really weird. Yeah. And I was like, and even as I ran my hand over, that's why I told him to pick it, because I was like, I'm going to pick it. And he's like, no, you. And I was like, okay, well, the minute I was doing it, I was just praying. It was like, just be honest with me, whatever it is, feeling over it. And it was almost like unbelievable.
That is crazy.
That's one of the more wild experiences I've had, for sure, because it was just complete confirmation. Yeah. Like, I just told him what I heard in the session. Yeah. And I've had a girl's deceased mother come into a session and tell her a very specific message that made no sense to me, but she told me that's like what her mom told her every night, and the nickname that she used for her, that was also not a name that I would know. And again, it's not as scary as it sounds, because I've always been very opposed to mediumship. Like, I don't want to, it just freaks me out personally. Yeah. And so I would not have thought that I would be open to that. But the minute I got in that session, I was like, I feel like her mom's in here. So if there's a message, and if it's safe for me to connect, and I'm, talking to God at this point. Yeah. If it's safe, let it come through. And then if it comes through and I understand it, let me know if it's okay to tell her, because you also don't just want to like throw something on someone that can really upset them. Yeah. So I got a yes instantly, and so I told her, and it was like exactly what. I mean, it made her day to be able to have that connection, you know.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And it was like I feel it. Like her mom was in a good place, but it came through me.
Would you have that? Would you have the opposite experience, like where somebody on the other side or whatever wants to say something to somebody here, but you don't think you should say it, or you don't feel like the person is ready to hear it?
I honestly haven't had a lot of experience. That was like the only experience that I know that came through as a message that way. And it was only because I knew like her mom passed at kind of a younger age. So I just had a feeling when I met with her. I didn't know the girl. Like she was my friend's roommate, but I just had a feeling that she was going to be in there. And so then once we got into it, I was like, give me protection because I don't know if this is safe. And if it is, then let it come through. So I don't think I'm, at least at this point in my practice with it, I don't think I'm open to just receiving that stuff.
Yeah.
Because there's a level of fear, so I think the fear kind of blocks it up. But,
you're kind of opening up a new box. So
like if I'm in the middle of a session though, and I know, like I definitely feel something that I'm going to ask, and then that could be anything from an angel or a deceased person or whatever, you know. But it's definitely not
demons in there.
No, because I'm very very safe about connecting to only light. Like you know, and for me I talk to Jesus, you know. I think he's the healer that I grew up knowing and think is you know, who I kind of pull or channel from. So Archangel Michael, it's all protection. So at that point, I honestly don't think anything negative could come through because I'm very, very specific. And I think there's dark magic out there. I'm a firm believer in that too. Just like the angels and demons or whatever, they're people that are toying with stuff that aren't, you know, they don't really care where the power comes from. Yeah. It is scary. So that's why with anything like Reiki healing or psychics or whatever, you have to make sure it's definitely something that I would want to connect with someone with beforehand. So like if I've never done a session with someone and they schedule one and I don't know them, like someone reached out on Instagram the other day, I said, let's do a FaceTime chat before. And so we talked for like 30 minutes and I wanted to get a feeling for where she was, let her know what I do, and just like make sure it's a good fit, because this is not a business. I'm just trying to like get people in and, you know, rack up clients. I don't want someone in that's open to negative things or like not where I am and what I'm trying to work with, or in the right mindset to really accept it. Because at that point it's a waste of my time, their money, and everything else. So I have to be careful about it.
That's good. Yeah, you gotta kind of like protect yourself, I feel like, too.
Yeah. And I do. I mean, that scared me initially going into it, but I feel very protected. I think a lot of that's belief and intention. Intention goes a long way with all of it.
That's
unreal.
That's heavy, yeah. You let those things in, like, you know, you let everything in, so it's like, that's how it is,
For me, always, like, I ask for the highest good of the person in the session, for me, for whoever it involves, and connecting with light, you know?
Yeah.
Like, there is, and I firmly believe, like, I imagine myself protected by that, and I firmly believe that I'm not going to let anything else in. Yeah. And so I think that, just like in a dream, you know, if you have these lucid dreams or sleep paralysis or whatever, and you scream out Jesus, or you believe, like, I'm not going to allow that in. There is a protection with that.
There's a point, no, I definitely feel like
in my sleep paralysis, I was like,
because it's there, you know.
And I honestly, I knew all about sleep paralysis and all the demons and people that people would see whenever they get sleep paralysis and stuff like that. I knew I was in it, and I was just like, it's not gonna happen to me.
No.
And I just sat there, and I was totally calm.
Intention.
Yeah. And I was just like, I knew it wasn't gonna happen. Yeah. So it was weird. Plus, you know, in that old house, like, Grandpa on our other side is still there and stuff like that. So I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, he wouldn't let that happen to me either. And I you know what I mean? And like, I always think about Grandpa on our mom's side too. It's just like, I genuinely believe like Grandpa wouldn't let anything happen to any of us.
I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
More than anything, 100%.
Yeah, I know you believe that because you probably talk about Grandpa more than any of us.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
What?
I think people have to.
Yeah.
The people that have to kind of worry about any of this is the people who don't have any belief system. In this, you know, and not to scare.
They're just totally lost. They could go in the negative direction as well.
Well, I was really scared before all this because I wasn't experiencing dark things, but I knew I didn't have a belief system. Like, I knew what felt like I was supposed to believe, and I had no idea what I could believe, and didn't know if I was allowed to believe. You know, like all these weird mixed feelings about it. So it does. It leaves you in a very compromised position because you don't have faith in anything.
Yeah.
And for years, I literally did not have faith. I wanted to have faith, but I was like, in what? Because I don't believe in.
Oh, I lost mine. They were saying earlier about how I literally told my parents, I was like, I don't believe in God anymore. Like I was totally gone. And then looking back now, that's when like Grandpa came and saw me when I was like graduating from college and all that stuff was going on and stuff like that, which we can get into that later or whatever. But that was crazy. And I mean, it really is just like whatever you know, if that's what you believe, then.
Yeah.
Jesus, that was heavy. Man. That was real heavy for me. Whew.
Yeah, it got.
Yeah.
Got a little heavier in here.
Yeah, I tell you what, like our grandfather on our mom's side is like a very heavy, like very influential individual. I think in all of our lives, probably.
Yeah. For sure.
Well, he raised us when we were kids.
Yeah, definitely.
Me and Andy lived with him like every summer that we used to go to San Diego, like the whole summer.
Yeah, but they also like when we were kids, they like raised us because mom and dad were working.
Yeah. No. Yeah, they were like our parents. Yeah.
Yeah. Like walk us to the school bus and stuff, and feed us food when mom and dad were working.
If Grandpa would have been there in your session, he's probably the only person that like if he showed up for me again, which I don't think he would. I don't know necessarily, but that dude cuts straight to my core. Like he will cut me in half. You know what I'm saying? Like I will just be totally just open. Like that's him. Yeah, this is weird, real weird.
Yeah, well,
I feel him.
He's heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting heavy in here.
All right, what do you think?
Oh, I think it's time.
Let's close it up.
Let's close it up.
I will say this. All right, well, let's just go through the normal things.
It's been a great session, man.
Reiki, I will say, I think it was an incredible experience. I recommend it to everyone. I thought it was very. I had an amazing feeling afterward. It was a crazy feeling during. I don't what.
No.
I was wondering what you were looking
at.
I was looking at anything.
I will say that I would recommend it to anyone. So like, Beka, what's your Instagram, your business? Go ahead and promote yourself.
Plug it up. Promote that.
Honestly, let's go. Lord.
It's Holistic Honey, HUNNI, so holistic_honey.
Okay.
On Instagram. So
check it out.
Yeah.
I'm a skeptical man.
I can't wait to do it.
But to hear my own brother talk about it like that, so means a lot to me personally.
Yeah.
And I think you helped him out a lot, and for that, I honestly would thank you, because like that's great. Like I'm glad that you are so like secure in where your path is now, and like that's
amazing.
What else could you want? Like, you know what I mean? Like that's great.
Well, I'm open to anybody who wants to try it. I think should try it.
Yeah.
I think it will happen when it's supposed to happen. So it's like if you're not feeling it right now, it's not something. Because you hear this cool episode to like, oh, well, maybe I should go do this. But if you're in a place in life where you feel inclined to try something like that, whether you just feel like you're kind of blocked creatively, like it works really well for a lot of creatives because it opens that channel again. So like people who are blocked in writing or painting or artists or musicians, it's really good for clearing that. If you feel like you're going through heartbreak or issue, like a big change in life, a transition, it helps you kind of clear that. And it's really good. I didn't talk about this earlier, but for the nervous system, so people deal with anxiety. I work with a lot of people that deal with chronic anxiety, and that's such a common thing. But it calms the nervous system. So for even that hour, for your nervous system to completely calm, it allows your immune system to kick back in and strengthen at that point. So on the physical levels, it helps on that too. But again, this is something that you shouldn't just go do because you see an ad for it or your friends want to do it or anything else. Like, and if it's not with me, like
it's real.
Make sure it's with someone that you trust and you can relate to in some way. Yeah. To have the best experience.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
All right.
Well, I think that's it.
I feel like I've been thoroughly lost.
Yeah. NicoLost.
I feel like I've been found.
Let's
I'll put that quote in the new intro that I'm making.
Nico found.
I feel like
bro.
Oh yes, dude.
To be
Put
part
that
of
in
your
the Joe
ad.
Rogan podcast.
I'm at the Laughing Skull November 13th, so that's I think just a week from now. So yeah, that's about it, guys.
I'm designing machines in Texas and Virginia currently.
Cool.
Jesus.
Very nice.
Oh, we're talking about stuff.
You got a plug? Come on.
No.
Andy's doing IT work.
He's in IT work and he does his
He'll be in
podcast.
the office.
Love him
Yeah.
for it. All right, well that's it. So episode 5, it was a doozy.
Yeah, it was a blast,
Woo.
man.
Thank you
What
guys
an
for
episode.
having me.
Yeah,
I
of
appreciate
course.
it.
Becca for
course.
coming. Yeah, that was awesome.
Cool.
That was like our longest
Yeah.
one, I believe.
Definitely our longest one. It was great.
Worth it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
All right.
All right.
See y'all later.
Thanks.